Defensively for the Mets, Kevin McReynolds in left field. He leads the National League in assists. Darryl Boston, one of the Darryls in the outfield. Strawberry, the other Darryl. Greg Jeffries at third base. Howard Johnson, who made his first error since taking over for Kevin Elster as a regular shortstop last night, is at shortstop. Tommy Herr at second. Dave Magadan at first, and Mackie Sasser. The umpires for tonight's game: Randy Marsh behind the plate, Harry Wendelstedt at first, Joe West at second base, and Mark Hirschbeck at third. I guess that's going to be Valera's theme song. One of your favorites, Ralph. Me and Julio down by the schoolyard, even though it's grammatically incorrect.
I'll go along with that.
It should be Julio and I down by the schoolyard. Well, this is no schoolyard. It's a big yard, as you can see. Our MetLife blimp flashing some beautiful shots tonight from Shea throughout the game. Boy, that's pretty. And Milt Thompson, who has not had a pretty season, leading it off, batting only .214, 4 home runs on the year. After a sparkling year last year, he has really fallen off this year. Ball 2 to Thompson. There's a strike. 2 balls and a strike to Milt. Just underway here at Shea. Fouled out of play. 2-2 to Thompson. Valera 10-10 at Tidewater this year. His highest strikeout game back on July 4th against Scranton Wilkesboro, the AAA affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. Outside, ball 3, 3-2 to Thompson. Walked him. What a way to start off. Every game, as everyone knows, a key game, and everybody hanging on every pitch. Kind of tough to relax these last 3 weeks.
Well, you put yourself really under the gun when you walk that first batter, especially when he has the speed that Thompson has, and you're trying to make it in the major leagues. In the first game Valera pitched, he walked 2 batters, and he had a walk of 3 batters in another ball game.
Ball 1 to Smith. And Charlie O'Brien, a late insertion, goes out to talk to Valera. Ozzie Smith batting .249.
Mackie Sasser scheduled to be the starting catcher, and he was scratched because of a tender elbow. It was his throwing arm, so he was scratched, and Charlie O'Brien put into the lineup.
Not unusual when a catcher or any fielder has something wrong with his ankle. As you look at Todd Hundley, Todd looks like he's ready to go. Got his shin guards on. Those are his business partners.
Either that or he's very slow on ground balls hit over by the dugout.
That's a law firm. And there goes Thompson, a little looper to center. Boston makes the catch. There may be a play at first, but Darryl elects to go to second. Thompson had gone close to second base, and Ozzie Smith flies to Boston and center, 1 out.
Right here, the hit and run plays, you see Milt Thompson go, and Ozzie gets it in the air. And Boston, who plays a fairly shallow center field, right there to make the play. Thompson making the U-turn and going back to first.
Ray Lankford now the batter. And look over there at the dugout, and Hundley has his glove on. Maybe he was listening to you. Got his glove on now. There goes Thompson. Fastball is high. The throw got him. Charlie O'Brien has certainly made himself known since coming to the Mets on the 1st of September, actually August 31st. 2 outs.
He doesn't really hurry this throw. He feels like he's got him as he comes out. He takes really a little bit of time and makes a just perfect throw to second base.
Wow.
And Thompson has only been thrown out 4 times in 26 attempts, so he got a tough man there.
And it's 2 balls and no strikes to Ray Lankford. 3-0. Two catchers in the game tonight who can really throw. Tom Pagnozzi of the Cardinals and Charlie O'Brien of the Mets. 3-1 to Ray Lankford, who batted .260 this year. There's Pagnozzi. Lankford batting .260 with 72 RBIs in Louisville. And it's 3-2. Pedro Guerrero on deck. Joe Torre taking over for Whitey Herzog on August 1st.
Joe with a record of 18-19 since taking over the ball club.
Low, ball 4. So that's 2 walks given up by Julio Valera. And the Cardinal managers this year in their records, Whitey Herzog giving way to Red Schoendienst. And Schoendienst, of course, certainly an interim manager, even though Rojo managed in more games than any other Cardinal manager. 12 years at the helm. So Lankford at first base, Guerrero the batter. Lankford certainly a base-stealing threat. He has 7 stolen bases. He has not been caught yet. Valera saying that he's really not disturbed at the Cardinal speed. He's used to it. He's played against the Cardinal teams in the minor leagues. I don't know if you can get used to having teams run and steal bases. Lankford not running as Valera really hurried the pitch home then.
Cardinals.
That was an unusual delivery right there.
He might be saying he's not worried, but he pitched that one like he was. Cardinals with 205 stolen bases, leading the National League in stolen bases.
And this one out of play, and you could see how Guerrero approaches that inside pitch, and that's the reason they pitch him inside. The last guy to do that to him, Danny Darwin, Guerrero ends up getting into a fight with him. You see how he fights that ball off inside?
Moves right into the ball, is really basically a straightaway hitter and a fine RBI man.
Likes to extend his arms. One and one to Guerrero. Slider and a beauty right there. 1-2. Let's see if Lankford is running here. Good time for it. With a count of ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pedro Guerrero the batter. No score, just underway here at Shea. There he goes. And the fastball fouled off. Still 1-2.
Just before that pitch was made, Charlie O'Brien, the catcher for the Mets, shifted his back foot back and was in a little bit stronger throwing position if the runner did go, and he did go. Take a look at this now. Charlie O'Brien, the feet mean everything when you're throwing down to second base on an attempted stolen base. Now watch him here shift.
Slider fouled away. Still 1-2 to Guerrero.
Try to get back to that. We didn't have time to show it to you after the long sequence of signs that was given by O'Brien. But take our word for it, he did shift into that position.
It's almost like a lineman's 3-point stance. Ideally, the right foot should be, the toe of the right foot should be about even to the middle of the left foot.
There it is. There.
Right there. Lankford not running, however, and this one fouled back. You don't want your feet even, nor do you want your right foot in front. It's like a 3-point stance. A lineman puts the right hand down and puts the right foot where the toe is about midway the left foot. He'll give the sign and then move that right foot back slightly. There it is. Doc Edwards, the catching instructor for the Mets, former Major League manager. I think Doc's got the savvy and the wherewithal to become a manager in the major leagues again for some team.
Good solid type man.
Yes, he is. Fisted up the middle, base hit. Langford stops at second base as Boston charges. So the Cardinals now with 2 on and 2 out, the first Cardinal hit. And that'll bring up Felix Jose.
This is certainly not an auspicious start for Valera, as he gives up 2 walks in the inning and also a single, but O'Brien throwing out Bill Thompson on the stolen base attempts has really helped him out here. And now he has a tough man to face, and he needs a big run.
Jose's first home run as a Cardinal came last Thursday against Mark Gardner of the Expos. Jose, a big switch hitter. Fly ball to right field, and Darryl Strawberry should make the catch, and he does. The Cardinals threaten in the first, but don't score. Middle of the first.
And he'll be pitching to this lineup of the Mets. Greg Jefferies leading off at third. Tommy Herr batting second, playing second. Playing first and batting third, Dave Magadan. Batting fourth, Darryl Strawberry in right. Kevin McReynolds will be the 5th batter in left field. Howard Johnson batting 6th, the shortstop. Darryl Boston, the center fielder, batting 7th. Charlie O'Brien, the catcher, batting 8th. And Julio Valera will be the 9th batter.
Defensively for the Cardinals, Milt Thompson in left, Ray Langford in center, Felix Jose, the right fielder, Todd Zeile, the third baseman, the Wizard of Oz at short, Oquendo at second, Guerrero at first, Pagnozzi behind the plate, and here's Greg Jefferies. Ball 1.
Jefferies 1 for 16 in a real big slump.
Fly ball, center field, Langford. 1 away here in the first inning. The Mets winning last night 10-1 against St. Louis. Their last meeting of the year tonight.
Mets have won 11 of the 17 games played with the Cardinals.
Pittsburgh failed to score at Philadelphia. No score with the Phillies batting in the bottom of the first inning. Tommy Herr now the batter, the ex-Philly.
Tomlin and Grimsley are the opposing pitchers in that game.
Randy Tomlin, we mentioned earlier, beat the Mets last Thursday 7-1, beating Julio Valera. 1 ball, no strikes to Tom Herr. Ball 2.
Matchups for that Pirate series: David Cohn against John Smiley tomorrow night, and then Doc Gooden against Doug Drabek on Thursday night. Gooden 16-6, Drabek 19-5.
Still plenty of seats available for both games. They are not sellouts. We want to repeat that. Those games are not sellouts. There are tickets available for both games. 3 balls, no strikes to Tommy Herr. Fun time of the year because you can hear the crowd throughout the broadcast checking the scoreboard and the oohs and the ahs of the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh game, 120 miles from here. Ground ball, right side. Guerrero threw it behind Hill, but a nice play by a terrific athlete. As a matter of fact, his favorite athlete.
Not too bad a choice right there. There's the scoreboard. Pittsburgh nothing, Philadelphia nothing, and Montreal losing to the Cubs 11-6. Well, Hill has to make a good play on this one as Guerrero makes a bad lead here. Throws behind him, he reaches back, makes the catch, and then the tag of the base.
Dave Magadan, the batter, 3rd in the National League in hitting, behind Len Dykstra and Willie McGee. sinker is outside. That's what Hill throws with Darryl Strawberry on deck. A hard sinker.
He has a tendency to get wild.
2-0 to Magadan after running the count to 3-0 to Tommy Herr.
99 walks last year. That led the National League pitchers for the most walks.
He was 7-16 last year. Outside, ball 3. There's a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike to Dave Magadan. No score. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Hit hard to center, but Langford there, and he makes the catch. The Mets go in order in the first. No score after 1, and we're back after this from MetLife. I get tricked on those bridges. See with the blimp taking those shots, Ralph. You're trying to trick me again, aren't you?
I noticed you didn't mention Whitestone.
Oh no, I said one of the bridges. I was quite generic then. Kind of tough to tell at night anyway, as Todd Zeile takes a slider outside. No score here in the second inning. Todd playing third base tonight. Lines one down the left field line, and it's foul, 1-1. If you're wondering why Zeile is playing third,
join the crowd.
Well, you know, the main reason is the Cardinals are trying to find a third baseman. They're not going to sign Terry Pendleton next year. The only one of the guys that, from my sources, that they're going to sign is Vince Coleman. Willie McGee traded to Oakland. And I think the Cardinals are going to make a diligent effort to sign Vince Coleman, so Zeile may be starting at third next year.
Well, Joe Torre made that switch from catcher to third base. So he's a young player.
This one hit deep to left field, way back, and it's gone. Home run, Todd Zeile, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. Look at Joe. Joe's talking about he was jammed on that pitch before, the little flare down the line, and on that pitch, he had a chance to extend his arms. 1-0 Cardinals.
First home run given up by Valera in the major leagues, and Zeile gets his 14th. And right here, the pitch is out over the plate, and he just turns on it nicely. And McReynolds knows it's gone, and now we do.
Home run number 14 on the year for Zeile, and Tom Pagnozzi takes ball 1. That's the first home run given up by Valera, by the way, as Boston drifts over to make this catch. 1 out here in the second. 1-0 St. Louis. Watching Guerrero hit and watching Zeile hit, further evidence of power hitters liking to extend their arms.
Don't need a whole lot of evidence on that, because that's the only way you're going to get the head of the bat out front, so you can get the bat through the ball to drive it a long way.
He drove that one a long way as Jose Oquendo steps up, having a year in which he is batting 50 points higher from the left side. Strike 1.
3 for 3 last night. He should be happy.
Bad base running blunder early in the game when he was at third and nobody out. A ball back to the pitcher, and Frank Viola, who won the ball game, got Oquendo in a rundown. At the time, it was a 1-0 ball game. Grounder to second, easy play for her. 2 outs. We were talking about that pitch where Zeal was jammed. He fought it off down the other way, and then the home run swing. Let's take a look at both of them.
This is the pitch where Valera came back inside, and he hits it off the trademark and pushes it out to right. Now he goes a little bit farther away, and that allows Zeal to get the head of the bat through, and it's gone. Location means a heck of a lot in property and also in baseball.
Well, the real estate on that pitch was not where Valera wanted it, as Ken Hill takes ball one. He's a good hitter. He's 4 for 12 on the year. 1-1. Pirates fail to score in the top of the second inning. No score. Philadelphia batting in the bottom of the second. This one lifted to right field. Strawberry should make the play, and he does. But the Cardinals take the lead on the home run by Zeal and lead 1-0 after 1.5. We're back after this from Tropicana. Bottom of the second inning, as Darryl Strawberry steps in. A visit from our optician, Ben Bonafide, our pal for years. As Strawberry, the numbers on Darryl, his 32nd home run last night. Joe Torre talking before the game about how he thought that ball was a fly ball and how much power Strawberry has. The ball just kept carrying and carrying. Was his 32nd home run. Strike one to Darryl. 1-0 Cardinals. Jammed is Strawberry. 1 out. 4 in a row now retired by Ken Hill.
Well, Kendall, the second baseman, has made just 3 errors so far this year. He leads all second basemen in fielding percentage. He is an outstanding defensive ball player.
With that beard, Jose, looks a little like Shea Guevara. Wasn't it Shea Guevara? Now that is not after whom Shea Stadium was named.
I hope not.
That was Bill Shea. Howard Johnson on deck. You hope not. 1-1 to Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds is jammed. So Ken Hill is doing a good job of getting inside on the Mets hitters. I'll tell you, the Mets have had a strange year offensively. 52 of their 140 games, they have scored 3 runs or less. 52.
And they still lead.
40%.
Still lead in runs scored in the National League by a pretty good margin.
Oh, that's the disparity. They've scored 10 runs or more 15 times. Little looper, right center, and it falls. So the first hit of the game for the Mets. Most of the clutch hitting for the Mets have come in situations, I guess you could make a case for it, in situations where they've been add-on runs. That's why they've scored 31 runs in their last 3 wins and only 5 runs in their last 6 losses.
Well, tonight in Philly, Pirates losing to the Phillies 1-0 on a home run by John Kruk in the bottom of the second.
Howard Johnson now the batter. Ojo with 20 home runs on the year, the 4th straight season he has hit 20 or more. 0-1.
"16 of his 20 home runs have come batting left-handed."
balls, 2 strikes to Johnson.
Boston, the on-deck batter.
Johnson down on strikes. That's the first strikeout for Hill. And Darryl Boston coming up.
Center fielder, number 7.
Hill was hit in the head by a pitch from Mark Gardner on the 6th of September.
That was his last start.
His last start. He left the game in the 2nd inning.
He has been nothing but trouble for the Mets. 2-0 and 2 starts against New York. He was recalled from Louisville on July 26th and started the 2nd game of the doubleheader to beat the Mets after going 7-16 last year. Ball 1 to Boston.
He was overpowering at Louisville with a 6-1 record and an earned run average of 1.79 in 13 game starts.
There goes McReynolds. The fastball is high. The throw by Pagnazzi gets away from Smith, and McReynolds stays at second base. I don't believe he saw the ball get by Smith. Stolen base number 9 for McReynolds.
Pagnazzi had thrown out 41% of the runners attempting to steal before this bad throw. It's way offline. Smith has to jump for his life and does. And Boston takes the pitch. Had a good pitch to throw, but made a bad throw.
So now with the count 2-0 and Charlie O'Brien on deck, we'll see how Hill works Boston. Ball 3. See if Buddy Harrelson gives Darryl the hit sign here. Nope. It's ball 4, and I'm not too sure Hill is that distressed at walking Darryl Boston with Charlie O'Brien coming up.
Well, he has a right-hand batter coming up, and O'Brien hitting just 200.
Charlie O'Brien.
In case you missed it, O'Brien was inserted late in the lineup tonight. Mackey Sasser with a sore right elbow. Examined by Dr. James Parks. It's not believed to be serious, but enough to keep Mackey out of the game as the fastball stays high. 1-0. 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 Cardinals here in the bottom of the 2nd.
The outfield very shallow against O'Brien. Center fielder Langford is very shallow.
Joe Torre telling me in St. Louis that he learned something when he moved up to the broadcasting booth. Formerly a manager, he was a broadcaster for 6 years, and we were talking about what a good view you have up here, and that's why a lot of teams employ the eye in the sky for defensive alignment, primarily in the outfield. 2 balls and a strike to O'Brien. Right above us. 2-2 to Charlie O'Brien. Julio Valera on deck.
Joe Torre broadcasting the games for the California Angels, and he was living in Newport Beach, which is a very high rent district. I asked him, are you renting there, or are you a homeowner? He says, I wish I were a homeowner there.
He was renting, yes. He is now a homeowner in St. Louis, however. He and his wife, Allie, just bought a home in St. Louis. Curveball misses, and that's a big pitch right there because now you've got the runners running. And as you said, Ralph, with the drawn-in outfield for O'Brien, it's going to give McReynolds a chance to score in case O'Brien gets a hit.
That 2-2 pitch is a very big pitch. Nobody pays a lot of attention to that. Now they can run.
2-2 with 2 outs. If it's a ball, then it compels the runners to run. And they do. And O'Brien fouls it back. Boston at first, McReynolds at second.
That Boston on first base was running with a pitch allows him to score as O'Brien comes up with a big 2-base hit. It is his 5th hit as a New York Met player, and he has had 3 doubles in the 5 hits for the Mets. And the Mets get the lead as they come back here with 2 men out.
With a pitcher hitting and 2 out right now, I think Chuck Keller would have sent Boston even had Jose come up with that ball with Boston running from first. He scores easily as it was, and this one plunked into center field, but it's going to be caught by Langford. But a big 2-out double by Charlie O'Brien. Remember, he was a late insertion from Mackey Sasser, and he gives the Mets a 2-1 lead after 2. And then Charlie O'Brien gets the big 2-out hit on the 3-2 pitch. Also that 2-2 pitch with the runners not running. I mean, a lot of things happen in that 1 inning. Here's Thompson. Tapper, first base. Thompson walked to lead off the game, and then he was caught stealing. And that was a big play because Guerrero later singled with 2 outs. So Charlie O'Brien has done a lot in his 2 innings of catching so far.
And he wasn't supposed to play.
Splitter right there. It's no balls, 2 strikes to Thompson. Valera with the fastball, curveball, and the splitter. There's a splitter again, grounded to second. 1 out.
Well, Tommy Herr with only 6 errors at second base this year. He made 1 with the Mets. But he is a very steady fielding type second baseman. Great pair of hands.
To her is human.
To forgive, huh? He only had to do it 6 times.
Grounder right side by Smith, base hit. So Ozzie Smith with his first hit, the 3rd hit for the Cardinals. And he's at first base and obviously a threat to run.
Ozzie with 20 stolen bases in 25 attempts.
Ray Langford, the batter. Breaking ball, strike 1, 0-1. Is high, 1-1. Langford from Modesto, California. Boy, I mean, that has been a haven for major league talent. Modesto, Fresno, than San Joaquin Valley? Maybe it's the vegetables they grow there.
Well, that and the fact that you could play baseball a lot. Hot weather up there, yeah, really hot.
Fastball is high, 2 balls and a strike. That's Sacramento area.
A lot of organized leagues up there, semi-pro type leagues playing in that area, about mid-California.
There goes Smith. Line drive, base hit to center field. Smith's going to go to third, or at least try it. The throw by Boston not in time, and Magadan in no man's land. If you're a first baseman, you should either stay on the bag or be on the mound. No man's land is like that in tennis when you're in no man's land. Had Magadan been on the bag, the throw behind Langford might have gotten him.
Well, the fact that he's on the bag would stop the runner from taking the big turn. And when you make that big turn, see the first baseman isn't there. If the throw isn't cut off, you got a chance to go to second.
That's what Jeffries was thinking. First and third, 1 out, and Guerrero fouls it off. 0-1. Guerrero with a hit up the middle in the first inning. Magadan was between first and the pitcher's mound, and there's no need to be on the mound, so the only place to be is at first base. That prevents that runner from taking that big lead and deciding to go to second. There goes Langford. The throw to second. Got him. Oh, brother. 2 outs. Oh, baby.
Well, this is really an exhibition of great throwing by O'Brien. Not a very good jump by Langford, but the runner on third doesn't move, and he gets that runner going down to second base. So Smith holding at third base.
First time this year that Langford's been caught in the big leagues. 0-2 to Guerrero. Inside, ball 1. What a game Charlie O'Brien has already played. He has caught 2 runners stealing and driven in the only 2 Met runs. It's 2-1 New York.
Pitchers on the Mets like that.
Fly ball right field, and what would be a sacrifice fly is now an out to end the inning. Still 2-1 Mets, middle of the third. We're back after this from Bud Light. Trying to nail Ray Langford for the first time this year was how he looked Ozzie Smith back at third base. Catchers are trained to do that with runners at first and third. You look the runner back, that freezes the guy at third. Boy, Charlie O'Brien made it look easy. He got Langford by 3 feet.
I'm really surprised that Torrey would have the runner going in that spot with his top RBI man there with a chance to drive in a run with a fly ball to the outfield. I'd question that move.
Me too. Excellent point. Deep to right. Back is Jose, and he makes the catch. Right at the wall. 1 out.
Well, Jeffries twice has hit deep fly balls. This one just missing going out of the ballpark. And at this point, he can't buy a base hit. He hits this ball right on the good part of the bat. Felix Jose right back to the wall, using up all the room he can get. Nonchalantly puts it away.
Watch it, right hand. It's kind of his antenna. Tommy Hurd takes ball 1.
He's feeling for that fence, and that's what you should do. You want to know exactly where that fence is. Jeffrey says, I can't believe it.
Don't fence me in.
Boy, he was fenced there. Corralled.
2-1 Mets. And it's 1-1 to Tommy Herr. 1 out here in the third. Mets 59 and 39 under Buddy Harrelson. Took over for Davey Johnson. They were 20 and 22 when Buddy took over. Now 18 games over, 3.5 behind the Pirates. Change and a beauty. A ball and 2 strikes to Herr. strike on the inside corner, says Randy March. Tommy doesn't agree with him, but agreement is not part of the deal. 2 outs.
First baseman, Dave McAdam.
Well, Ken Hill really painting a nice picture here. There's the off-speed pitcher, split finger fastball, and now he comes back on the inside corner with a fastball. Looked like it was inside. Tommy, though, called out on strikes by Randy Marsh.
Magadan takes ball 1. Mets scoring their runs on a 2-out double with a count 3-2 to Charlie O'Brien in the second, leading it 2-1. The Cardinals scored their run on a home run by Todd Zeile, his 14th of the year. It's 2-1 New York. Count even, 1-1 to Magadan.
You can always tell when Magadan doesn't agree with the umpire. He steps back out of the batter's box and walks away a few feet. Doesn't say anything.
And a strike. You know, he reminds me a lot of Hernandez. The way he always seems to be hitting in favorable counts. He takes a lot early in the count. Rarely will he swing at the first pitch.
That makes you a good hitter.
It really does. Now it's 3-1, a favorable hitter's situation.
Well, you're just a victim of the pitcher when you swing at that first pitch, because normally if you got that reputation, you're not going to get anything good.
You talk to any pitcher, and they love to face first ball hitters, as Darryl Strawberry is on deck. This one popped up in foul territory. Todd Zeile over near the tarp, and he makes the catch. The Mets go in order, but lead 2-1 after 3.
As we take a look at beautiful Shea Stadium from the MetLife blimp, our captains tonight, Corky Belanger and Bart Van Beest.
Corky. All right, Corky. Keep flashing those nice pictures our way.
1 strike the count to Jose, who has flied out to right field.
I don't think I've ever heard of a pilot named Corky.
This one grounded foul. Lighter than air blimps, huh? I had a good friend of mine in the Navy that flew those things. Was a ball player for the Albany Senators. This pitch is high, and it's ball 1. The 1-2 pitch hit hard at a base hit to right field. So Jose can see as he hits that one right through the leg, right through the right spot.
Check the Nissan National League scoreboard. 11-6 Chicago over Montreal, but Pittsburgh, important for Mets fans. Now that says 3-1 on the scoreboard here at Shea. It says 2-1. We'll try to check that for you. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Cincinnati over Houston in the 3rd. Atlanta at San Francisco, LA at San Diego later on. Now
the batter, Todd Zeile, who homered his first time up. That ball player that played for the Senators that used to pilot the blimp, Jimmy Cullinane, was an outstanding player. The 1-strike pitch hit down the right field line. If it's fair, it's extra bases. It is fair. Strawberry chases it down in the corner. Coming around from first base is Felix Jose, and he'll score. And Zeile with a second base hit. And the ball game is tied at 2.
What makes this particularly impressive is Todd Zeile, after the home run, hits a line drive down the right field line. A good hitting by Zeile. His 49th RBI of the year. And the Cardinals tie it as Jose scores without a play.
And again, Valera being hit hard. That's the 6th hit for the Cardinals. No one out, a runner at second base. And Tom Pagnozzi is the batter. Pagnozzi flied out to center field his first time up. And he goes through the fastball, strike 1. Pagnozzi, since the All-Star break, hitting .302.
We said on our Nissan scoreboard it showed 3-1. That game is 2-1. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh in the bottom of the third. So we want to correct that.
One strike pitch. Again, the fastball, strike two.
Pagnozzi clearly trying to hit the ball the other way. There it is. Jason Grimsley against Randy Tomlin. Grimsley with the Phillies, Tomlin with the Pirates.
Two strikes the count. And this pitch fouled down the right field line as Pagnozzi again tries to hit behind the runner. These things really impress a manager when you have someone trying to do the way you want it to be done. There's Bob Ojeda in the bullpen for the Mets. Pagnozzi trying to win that #1 starting job next year for the Cardinals. Fine defensive catcher. And again, he tries to go to right. And again, he fouls it back out of play.
Yeah, he's a right field hitter naturally.
He's driven in 13 runs in his last 27 starts. He has a career high in RBIs with 18, but he hasn't caught much. He had 3 RBIs last year, and each one of them won a ball game. Again, the two-strike pitch, and this one pulled to the third base side. It's a fair ball. The long throw is just in time as they hold the runner at second and pick up the out.
Todd Zeile is not a fast runner, but a runner with average speed can go to third after a throw like this. Jeffries knows he has to hurry to first base, so can't look the runner back to second. See, he doesn't look the runner back. So what you do if you're the runner at second, go about a third of the way, dare him to look you back, and then come over after the throw. There's no way that Jeffries can throw to first and have Magadan throw back to third, and you can't run 60 feet, which is where you would be with that leadoff second.
And be there with one man out.
Right.
That brings up Jose Oquendo, who is 0 for 1. 3 for 3 in last night's ball game with a run batted in, and he hits this ball on the ground to her. Magadan goes for the ball. They'll have to wait. The throw to first base is just in time. Magadan going back to the bag after going for the ball just did get back in time. Her had to delay his throw to make sure Magadan could turn and see him.
Watch Magadan break towards second. He breaks a couple of steps, and now Her has to wait for Dave to get back to first base, and they just get Oquendo. I mean, just get him.
On that play, Zeile goes to third, but he's there with 2 men out, and the pitcher coming up.
Boy, that was close. Woo.
Ken Hill, the batter, flied out to right field his first time up, and he takes a breaking ball off the plate for ball 1. Game is tied at 2 with a run in here for the Cardinals. Top of the 4th inning. And the fastball hit to Johnson at shortstop. That retires the side. The Cardinals get 1 run on 2 hits. They leave one at third. And the score at the end of 3.5 of the 4th. The game once again tied at 2. And it will be Darryl Strawberry to lead off against Ken Hill. Prior to today's game, the MetLife Met of the Month award for the month of August was presented to Howard Johnson. Howard was presented with his award by Mr. Joseph Jordan, Vice President for MetLife. During the month of August, Howard hit .254 with 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in. In addition to the award, MetLife will donate $1,000 to the Greenwich House, Howard's designated charity. So congratulations to Howard Johnson on winning the MetLife Met of the Month award for August. Darryl Strawberry popped up his first time up. Mets have 2 runs on 2 hits. And the first pitch to Strawberry hit off of the glove or leg of Ken Hill, and it goes into center field for a base hit. Strawberry 3 for 4 last night.
Left fielder Kevin McCarver.
When the ball gets off of Strawberry's bat, it has so much carry, whether it's hit in the air or on the ground. This ball, even though touched by Hill, he got a good piece of the glove on it. Just continues on into center field.
So Strawberry with a leadoff single. That'll bring up Kevin McReynolds, who blooped a single to right field his first time up. Strawberry draws the throw. Darryl with 15 stolen bases in 23 attempts. And again, a throw to first base. Tie game at 2, bottom half of the 4th inning. Strawberry a short lead at first. And again, Hill pays some attention to him. And the pitch is a breaking ball over, a called strike. McReynolds reached out and tapped the curveball that was out and away from him in the right field for a base hit his first time up. On deck is Howard Johnson. And the fastball swung on and fouled back out of play. McReynolds hitting .291 in his major league career against the St. Louis Cardinals with 14 home runs. 2 for 4 in last night's ball game. Won by the Mets 10-1. The 2-strike pitch is outside, 1-2. Hill lifetime in the major leagues, 11 wins, 19 losses. Beat the Mets on July 26, 3-1. Going 7 2/3 innings, giving up only 3 hits. Again, he throws to first. One 2 pitch is grounded foul. Count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Strawberry again with a very short lead at first. The pitch back line to left field, a base hit. Played on the bounce by Thompson. Strawberry to second base and holding there. So 2 in a row for the Mets, and runners at first and second with no one out.
Shortstop Howard Johnson.
The MetLife Mets of the month so far this year: Frank Viola in April, Greg Jeffries in May, Dave Magadan in June, Mackey Sasser July, Howard Johnson in August. Who will be the MetLife Met of the month in September? Different Met for each month.
So a conference at the mound.
Tell you, this has been the problems that the Mets have incurred offensively, is having a runner at second base. Now they have first and second, nobody out. And if you can't drive him in to get a productive out, the Mets don't bunt a lot. They only have 6 sacrifices by non-pitchers this year. So I think starting next year, Buddy Harrelson's going to have to find a way to move runners along, whether it's bunting more or getting guys to hit to the right side more or whatever it's going to be.
Well, you can get trapped in that syndrome about home run power, and you think, well, we'll get it with a big home run. But
right.
It doesn't happen that often. And this ball popped up. It won't get the runner over. So once again, it is a problem, and it's going to drop in. going to drop in. The throw to second is not in time. And for some reason, the center fielder, Langford, and the right fielder, Jose, could not get together. That ball had enough hang time to hit our MetLife blimp.
I'll tell you another thing. In my opinion, Oquendo's got to make that play. If Oquendo's camped under it, the infield fly rule's in effect. The hitter's automatically out. But Oquendo gave up on it too quickly, thinking that it was deeper than it was. That ball with a lot of hang time, Oquendo can go out, put up his arms, and the infield fly rule's in effect, even though the ball's in shallow right center. Boy, that play botched up completely by the Cardinals.
And a big break for the New York Mets.
Woo.
So instead of runners at first and second and one out, they have the bases loaded and no one out, and Darryl Boston coming up.
Going to be scored a base hit for Howard Johnson. Hojo blowing kisses to the center fielder, right fielder, and second baseman of the Cardinals.
A gift. And the Mets now with the bases loaded and Darryl Boston the batter. The infield playing back at short and second. Also at first. Boston walked his first time up, and he takes the first pitch outside for a ball. Boston with 35 runs batted in this year, and a big chance to get the Mets in front. He hits it hard. It hits the first baseman Guerrero, who thinks about home, makes a great play. They get the call at home on the force play, and Guerrero hit on the foot with that. He didn't get the glove on it. It stayed right next to him, and somehow he got it to home in time for the force play at home. So the Mets don't score, lose an out, and still have the bases loaded.
Well, what a terrific play by Pedro Guerrero. Watch his recovery and reaction. Once the ball hits, rolls away, and the strong throw home. Well, I'll tell you, that was awfully close at home. Strawberry plowing into Pagnazzi to prevent the throw back to first.
Well, a tough break for the Mets as that ball hit Guerrero after it had passed his glove on the foot and stayed close enough to him where he had a play at the plate. So the base is now loaded, one man out, and the batter is Charlie O'Brien, who doubled to drive in 2 runs for the Mets his first at bat. And he checks the swing, and it's fouled off to the right side. O'Brien's doubled down the right field line to drive in McReynolds, who had singled and stolen second base, and Boston, who had walked. Came on a 3-2 fastball. Now the count at strike one, and the pitch back is fouled back. So O'Brien down with a 2-strike count. Pat Tabler is on the bench. He got a base hit for the Mets with the bases loaded yesterday. On deck is Valera.
What if O'Brien makes an out? Do you pinch hit for Valera?
No,
even though nobody's warming up in the bullpen, right?
Nobody throwing in the bullpen. And Valera has really been staggering in this ball game.
Yep.
This ball hit the deep left field. It's way back. It'll score a run as Thompson goes to the wall to make the catch. And coming in from third base is McReynolds, and the Mets now take the lead by a score of 3-2, and another fine hitting performance by O'Brien.
Charlie O'Brien has driven in all 3 runs for the Mets. This is a real mistake by Ken Hill. A fastball, fat part of the plate, with a count 0-2 to O'Brien. Well, that drives managers up a wall. You get him in the hole and you pitch to him like it's 2-0 instead of 0-2.
Well, the one pitch he could hit in the air to get the runner in from third. High fastball, and he got it, almost drove it out of the ballpark. So now runners at first and second and 2 men out, and Valera is hitting. Fly out to center's first time up, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. In the last inning, Bob Ojeda was throwing in the bullpen. Valera in trouble, giving up a run on 2 hits in the last inning. He's given up 6 hits in his first 4. And he takes inside for a ball. He has had base runners in every inning, has been staggering throughout the ball game. Jeffrey's the on-deck batter. He hopes to get up there. 2-0 the count. And the fastball right on through. It's called a strike. 2-1. Ken Hill, the pitcher for St. Louis. And the fastball hit in the right center. It might drop. Coming up hard, the right fielder, Jose. It drops in for a base hit. Johnson comes in to score. Here comes Boston, and the throw to the plate, not in time. And Boston scores all the way from first base, and the Mets get 2 more big runs.
If you're the Cardinal manager, Joe Torre, and they want to show this half inning again, you burn the tape. This is about as bad as a major league team can play. I mean, first of all, Jose's too deep with a pitcher hitting who was a minor league pitcher, his 3rd major league start. The ball hits his throat. By the time he gets to it, he throws in. Hiller at third base making a great play. Look at Guerrero reacting too late as Boston scores easily. Boy, you talk about a comedy of errors, but it's not too funny to Joe Torre.
Mets now have 3 runs in, and that was the first major league hit for Valera, and obviously his first RBIs.
You mean to tell me a ball hit like that can drop in front of a right fielder? It's epidemic. Outfielders to the opposite field play too deep in the big leagues.
And that pitch a ball. Make that a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. That's leading 5-2. And it's hit into shallow left field. Going back is Ozzie Smith, and he makes the catch. So Jeffries ends the inning. But the Mets get 3 runs on 4 hits, helped out by the Cardinal defense. 1 man left on base. The score at the end of 4, it's the Mets 5 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Now here's a...
I don't think there is any scowl that looks as mean as a Joe Torre scowl with those dark eyes and that dark beard. And he has reason to scratch his head after that half inning he just saw.
He is using this opportunity to evaluate his players, and the Cardinals will be making numerous changes, have already made some very big ones.
It's Ray Lankford, the center fielder.
Had 1 fly ball dropping between Langsford, Oquendo, and the right fielder, really devastating. And then, of course, the base hit that Valero got that dropped in front of Jose. This ball hit hard to right. Strawberry charging. He's there, and he makes the catch on a vicious line drive hit by Milt Thompson.
Tell you, you picked up on it, Ralph. The Cardinals are hitting balls hard all over the place. They only have 2 runs to show for it, but Valera is not tricking anybody. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Harrelson look to take out Julio after the first 5 innings.
If he can get by the 5th, he'll be very happy if he can get by with that lead. Mets leading 5-2, and the pitch to Ozzie Smith, fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozzie with a base hit and 2 times up. As Tim pointed out, Joe Torre with a record of 18-19 as manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, and there's that Torre scowl. 1-1 pitch. It's hit foul off to the left side. 1-2. And a pop up into center field. Right there is Darryl Boston. The catch retires Ozzie Smith. 2 men away.
Nissan American League scoreboard 2-1. Texas over New York. Detroit at Baltimore. Every time you look at Detroit, you think Cecil Fielder has hit a home run. He leads the majors in home runs and RBIs. No score in the 5th. No score also Milwaukee at Boston in the 4th. 1-1 Chicago at Cleveland in the 5th. No score Toronto, Kansas City in the 1st inning. And the other 2 games this evening. Later on this evening.
Ray Langford is the batter. He has a base hit and a walk. And he takes that pitch on through. Ball 2. Catcher talking it over with Ken Hill, the pitcher. He's probably trying to console him. 3-0.
It's certainly not Ken Hill's fault where the Cardinals are now. And all those runs are earned, and they should be unearned.
Mets given 5 outs in that last half inning to score 3 runs. And the fastball fouled back. 3-2 the count. The full count pitch is a fastball hit hard at Johnson. He comes up with it. A little bobble, but he gets it. And then gets it over to first base in time for the out. So the first 1, 2, 3 inning with some help from Strawberry and Johnson.
All right, Ralph. Tommy Herr leads it off. Tommy 0 for 2. And he tries to bunt. He bunts it foul. 0-1 to Tommy. The first 3 slots of the Mets order are 0 for 7 so far tonight. The middle 3 slots are 4 for 6. McReynolds 2 hits. Strawberry a hit. Johnson a hit. But a guy who has done everything in this game so far to give the Mets their lead and to preserve the lead defensively is Charlie O'Brien. What a game he's played.
2 men thrown out at second base, stopping rallies and also driving in 3 runs.
First 3 runs of the game for the Mets. Ground ball to short. And as usual, the trip to see the Wizard unsuccessful. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and Sterling WWOR Enterprises LP and Universal 9 WWOR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, also prohibited. Magadan now. Ball 1. Dave 0 for 2.
Dykstra leads the league at 337. Of course, Willie McGee is locked in at 335.
1-1 to Dave. Oakland Athletics with a 9.5 game lead, and I'll tell you, if anybody dethrones the Oakland Athletics this year, they'll deserve it. What a ball club. Change is over. Ball and 2 strikes to Magadan. Foul, 1-2. The Athletics, with Dave Henderson down, sign Willie McGee, Harold Baines. They trade for them. And even if they don't end up signing them, they gave up, what, 3 or 4 minor league players. They've used them for the month of September. They'll probably sign 1 or 2, either Baines or McGee, maybe both of them. But you still solidified your chances for postseason play.
Whoever gets beat in postseason play probably will say, well, at least we don't have to play the Oakland Athletics in the World Series. Devastating.
You read Dave LaPointe of the Yankees line. They've become a rotisserie team. Still wanted to make that 2-2 to Magadan.
Point had a great line about playing in San Francisco. He said, I could walk downtown in San Francisco with my uniform on. They wouldn't know me.
Grounded first. He might fit right in that town in his uniform. See some zany outfits there.
They might say, who's that guy all dressed up in formal attire? Tonight in Philadelphia, the Pirates 2, the Phillies 1. That's at the end of 5 innings.
Of course, nobody dresses in unusual fashion in New York City. Strawberry pops it up, middle of the infield. Oquendo, the second baseman, makes the play. An easy inning for Hill. An oddity in this game. He has retired the Mets in order in all odd innings. Between innings, he was boogieing down. Another of Ralph's favorite songs.
Go ahead, tell me what it was.
That was it. I heard it through the grapevine.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. You missed that one, did you? This one fouled away.
For some reason, I wasn't paying any attention.
Pedro Guerrero fouls it away. Pete 1 for 2 on the night. The Mets trying to win their 48th game at home this year. 0-1 to Guerrero. The Mets on top 5-2. Valera all the way for the Mets and Ken Hill all the way for the Cardinals as Guerrero fouls it back 0-2 to Pete. Mets with 2 in the second, 3 gift runs in the 4th inning.
And no errors in the game.
Never look a gift bird in the mouth.
Well, they gave the Mets some extra outs there where they let those balls drop in the outfield.
There's Kevin Elster, who was operated on a couple of weeks ago. Will not be able to throw for another 3.5 months. This one lined to left, base hit Guerrero. So the Cardinals continue to hit the ball hard against Valera. They only have 7 hits, but their outs have been hard outs. And here comes Buddy Harrelson.
Mets have action in their bullpen. Ojeda's been throwing since the start of this inning. He had warmed up earlier. And Valero might leave this game. He's gone. But he's on the winning side of the game as he does go out. As the Mets are leading by a score of 5-2. He's pitched saves. He has 1 in his major league career. That was when he was with Boston in the American League. An earned run average of 3.56. He has walked 36, struck out 61, given up 115 hits in 113 2/3 innings.
Bobby enters the game with nobody out here in the 6th inning. Pedro Guerrero at first base. And Magadan shrewdly playing behind Guerrero now. Not much of a chance for Guerrero to be running here. Ojeda's last appearance last Wednesday against the Pirates. This one hit deep to right, but foul. The 0-1 to Felix Jose.
Wonder how he feels about being traded from a first-place club that looks like a cinch to be in the World Series to a last-place club, the St. Louis Cardinals. You'll get a piece of the World Series share.
Yeah, you won't get a piece if you're traded in your own league, but you will if you're traded to the other division. I remember in 1974 I was traded from the Cardinals to the Red Sox. Actually picked up on waivers by the Red Sox. The Red Sox finished 3rd that year. I believe it was 3rd place. And I got a piece of the pie from the Mets, from the Cardinals, the team from whom I left because I went to the other league. And the same thing happened the next year. Put on waivers by the Red Sox, went to the Phillies, and got at that time a lot of money. I mean, you know, so it was the third of a share, you bet. In 1975, a third of a share was $4,400 for the losers of the series. Today, a third of a share is what, close to 35. This one hit to right center. Strawberry over, and it's going to fall. Boston hurriedly back into the infield, but the Cardinals with runners at second and third and nobody out. Five to 2 Mets. And Todd Zeile, the batter, and he's driven in both Cardinal runs.
Well, Jose now with his second base hit, it's right up the alley. Neither Strawberry or Boston can get to it. Good relay, and that stops Guerrero at third base.
So here's Todd Zeile. He homered in the second and doubled in a run in the fourth. Low, ball one.
That home run he hit in the second is second against the Mets. He had never had much success against the Mets in his short time in the majors, hitting 192 coming into this game.
On the outside corner, strike one. 1-1 to Zeile. Nobody out. Second and third. 5 to 2 New York. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike. Zeile had waited long enough. Grounder right side. Magadan can't get to it. Hurt Ojeda. Got him. Zeile is not a fast runner, and it's a good thing. 1 out. As Guerrero scores and Jose moves to third.
Well, Ojeda is late coming off the mound, and he has to turn on the afterburner here to get to the bag before Zeile. Throw by Tommy Herr just there, and a good throw. And they pick up an out as the Cardinals get a run back.
Tom Pagnozzi now the batter. Pagnozzi 0 for 2. He's flied out and grounded out. Jose at third with a 1 out. Little looper down the right field line. It's going to drop. So Jose scores, and it's now a 5-4 ball game as Pagnozzi drives in his 19th run. And Jose Oquendo now the batter, batting right-handed. The book, by the way, is closed on Valera. He has given up 3 earned runs in this game. The run scored by Jose, of course, charged to Ojeda, with Pagnozzi at first and 1 out. Strike 1 to Oquendo. We're in the 6th. It's 5-4. Mets on top. 1 out, 1 on. No balls, 2 strikes to Oquendo. Inside, just missed. You can tell by the way Ojeda put that head down that he wanted that pitch. But it's ball 1, 1-2. Ernie Camacho is just traveling with the Cardinals. He is not on their roster, as this one misses outside and low. 2-2. So he will not be in the game, as Ken Hill, the on-deck batter, will be allowed to hit for himself. Outside 3-2. We'll see if Pagnozzi's running. running. And the change grounded toward third. Jeffries looked at second and now throws out Oquendo. So Craig Wilson is going to be the pinch hitter, which would lead you to believe that Camacho would be in the ball game. Now, he's not on the roster, but since he's the only pitcher warming up, that is number 62, so there are 2 outs.
Well, he can't come in the game unless they put him on the roster sometime today.
Dan Schatzeder joined the Mets yesterday actually. So he's on the roster, the left-hander. I asked him before the game, was he here to hit or pitch?
That's right, good question, a good hitter.
So Craig Wilson is going to be the pinch hitter. And we were told that Camacho was not on the roster.
Wilson is 8 for 18 as a pinch hitter with 3 runs batted in, so he's been very tough at the plate.
Now we are having a revision of that. That Ernie Camacho was signed before the game, so we retract that. So obviously Camacho will be the pitcher in the 6th inning, as Craig Wilson is the pinch hitter with Pagnazzi at second. 2 men out, and the Cardinals trailing by a run here in the 6th inning. Ground ball up the middle. It's going to find a hole. Here comes Pagnazzi. He'll score, and it's a tie ball game, 5-5. Craig Wilson reaching out and poking a changeup up the middle ties it up for the Cardinals as Pagnazzi scores.
This is his 9th base hit, and he got enough of it and hit it in the right spot to drive in the tying run. So the Mets will have to start all over again.
3 runs for the Cardinals here in the 6th, and Milt Thompson the batter. Thompson 0 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice, however. Ball 1. Ojeda relieved Valera with nobody out and Guerrero on at first, and since that time the Cardinals have pushed across 3 runs. And it's ball 2. Strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. With Guerrero at first and nobody out, Jose doubled, and after an RBI ground out by Zeal, Pagnazzi singled to drive in a run. Oquendo made an out, and then Craig Wilson drove in a run. Is this one a high chopper? Johnson, look at this play. Not in time at first. Howard Johnson with a terrific backhanded stop, a quick throw, but not in time.
Howard's made 1 error at shortstop since taking over the position. And right here he almost makes an unbelievable play. His momentum takes him all the way into foul territory as he throws the ball over in 1 hop. That's the best he could do and all he could do, but he goes as an infield base hit. So the ball's not hit hard, but finding the holes, and the Mets are in deep trouble.
So that puts runners at first and second for the Cardinals as Wally Whitehurst is up and throwing. Ojeda has been ineffective in this 6th inning. Ozzie Smith 1 for 3. Line drive, base hit, right center. Wilson's going to score. Thompson on his way to third, and the Cardinals take the lead 6-5.
4th hit given up by Bob Ojeda in relief of Valera. And Ozzie Smith, the 8th man to bat in the inning. Strawberry does a good job to cut it off, holding the runner at third base as another run scores, and the Cardinals take the lead 6-5.
They've scored 4 times here in the 6th inning. Ray Lankford now. If Lankford were a right-handed batter, he'd be out. Ojeda would be out of there, but since Lankford bats from the left side, Ojeda allowed to pitch to him. 6-5 Cardinals here in the 6th inning. Ball 1. It's almost as though all Cardinal hitters have gone up there to hit the ball the other way. Think about it. Every hitter has hit the ball the other way for base hits in this inning off Ojeda. Every hitter. And there have been 4 of them. This ball hit deep to right, but Strawberry on the warning track makes the catch. The Cardinals strike 4 times on 5 hits, and they strand 2. After 5.5, it's 6-5 St. Louis. Winner if Ernie Camacho can hold on. Pitching earlier in the year, Camacho's been around. Just signed by the Cardinals tonight before the game. He was 1-1 with the Giants earlier, working in 15 games as flip-flop back and forth from the minors. So it's Ernie Camacho in relief of Ken Hill. You'd wonder, Ralph, why the Cardinals want to sign a guy like Camacho at this point in time. I mean, they're not contending.
He was born in 1956. He had quite a few years with Cleveland in the American League. He was 7-18 with 44 saves. And it is interesting they would sign a veteran like Camacho when they're talking about youth.
So Ernie Camacho in for Ken Hill, who stands to be the winner if Camacho et al. Can hold the Mets, who trail 6-5. Cardinals with 4 runs in the 6th inning. Tell you, these are the types of games that remain indelibly in the mind for 10 years. Regardless of what the Mets do, whether they win it or not, people who are here will talk about this game, or these types of games, the last 3 weeks of the season, as McReynolds takes a slider inside. One and one to Kevin. He's had a good night. He has scored 2 runs, stolen base, 2 base hits. 12 hits for the Cardinals. Only 6 for the Mets. This one hit deep to left field. Thompson turns around and watches it go. Goodbye. 6-6 now. This game is wacky.
Talking about Ken Hill being the victor, he is now longer in that position as he gets a no decision for this ball game, as Kevin McReynolds takes a victory right out of his mouth or his hands. And there was just no doubt about this one. I believe this goes over the back fence. No, it doesn't. One bounce up there.
No doubt about it. It was interesting to see Milt Thompson's reaction. He turned around and kind of admired it. What else are you going to do? A ball and no strikes to Johnson. He had a gift hit in the 4th and struck out in the 2nd. What a goofy ball game. One and one. Looks like Ron Darling is up and throwing. Yep, there's Ronnie. One ball, one strike to Howard Johnson. Looks like a fork ball or a split finger. A ball at 2 strikes to Hojo.
That Pirate-Philly game, 2-1 Pittsburgh in the top of the 7th inning.
Jason Grimsley and Randy Tomlin still in there. The Mets entered tonight's play 3.5 behind the Pirates. And the curve gets Johnson. First strikeout for Camacho, 1 out, and Darryl Boston coming up.
Center fielder, Darryl Boston.
The last time Boston was up with the bases loaded and nobody out, he hit a scorcher to the right of Guerrero, who was playing in the baseline. The ball hit Guerrero's foot, and Guerrero recovered in time to throw out Strawberry at home plate. Darryl has scored 2 runs, and it almost hits him.
That play came with the bases loaded, and then O'Brien followed with a long drive to left, driving a run. Darryl Boston having to skip over this one.
This was Hotzies. You remember Hotzies? Jumping rope, Ralph?
Yeah,
jump rope?
yeah.
Hotzies?
Yeah. Never played Hotzies, though.
Hotzies is when you jump rope and you've got to fire the rope real quickly. Hotzies, they used to call it. 2-0 to Boston. Charlie O'Brien, speaking of Hotsy. This one, good play by Oquendo. 2 outs. Tough hop, and Oquendo handled it beautifully, and Charlie O'Brien coming up.
The catcher.
Well, we mentioned earlier Oquendo with only 3 errors all year, and this was a very tough play right there on that half hop. As he gets down, comes up with the balls, it rises off the dirt and picks up the out. Best fielding percentage is second, and Darryl Boston says, what do you got to do to get a base hit?
The last 2 times up, I mean, he has really hit 2 balls hard as Charlie O'Brien takes the breaking ball low. O'Brien has driven in 3. He's thrown out a couple of runners. He has just had an outstanding night. Ball 2, 2-0. 6-6 in the 6th. Bobby Ojeda on deck, but with Darling and Whitehurst throwing, doubtful that Ojeda would hit if O'Brien gets on, and he almost got on with that pitch. 3-0.
Especially with Guerrero leading off for the Cardinals in the next inning. Good movement away from that ball, which is a natural reaction.
It certainly is.
You don't have to be a genius to get out of the way of that one.
And O'Brien walks on 4 straight pitches. Ojeda is being called back. And it's going to be Tom O'Malley to pinch hit for Ojeda. A rough outing for Bobby O. He gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. And Scott Terry now up and throwing for the Cardinals. This game's theme song should be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It was an ugly inning that allowed 3 runs to score. For the Mets in the 4th inning, Joe Torre saw that and does not want to see another inning like that for the rest of this year.
Well, O'Malley 5 for 35 as a pinch hitter. One of his pinch hits a home run. He also has driven in 5.
of those home runs, as Ralph said, a pinch hit home run that won a game against the Montreal Expos earlier in the year. He hit it off Dale Mahorsic in the 12th inning.
Well, tonight in Philly, Pirates 4, the Phillies 1, top of the 7th inning, a 2-run home run by McClendon.
Lloyd McClendon.
Just picked up a couple days ago by Pittsburgh. How about that?
Paying an early dividend. It's 0-1 to O'Malley. Pirates will be here tomorrow night. Tickets available. The Mets, remember, play Pittsburgh 3 more, make that 5 more times. 2 here at Shea, and 3 the last 3 days of the season. Change is over. No balls, 2 strikes to O'Malley.
Camacho was at Louisville this year, and he was 1-1 there. Had 2 saves, was in 15 ball games.
On the splitter. 2 strikeouts for Camacho, but a home run by McReynolds ties it. After 6, we're tied at 6, and we'll be back after this from Nice. It's been a zany night here at Shea. It's 6-6 here in the 7th, and in to take you through for the rest of the way, here's Ralph.
Okay, Tim, and another look at our area here by the ballpark, Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, by the MetLife Blimp. It's based in Florida, and it's 194 feet long, considerably with the size of that blimp. Six as we go to the top of the 7th. Cardinals have out-hit the Mets 12-7, and it will be Pedro Guerrero to lead it off against Ron Darling. Guerrero 2 for 3 in the game. Big, strong right-hand batter. And now Darling to work in the first pitch, a fastball fouled off. Guerrero with a lifetime average against the Mets of .294. He's hit 19 home runs against the Mets in his major league career. One of those home runs this year, and he takes the ball, and it's 1-1. Paid crowd here tonight, 25,126. Total in the house, 26,092. This has been a strange game, but a very exciting ball game, as that pitch is outside for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cardinals led 1-0 after 1.5. The Mets then got 2 in the bottom half of the 2nd. The lead 2-1. They increased their lead to 5-2 after the Cardinals got a run in the 4th inning. The Mets got 3. Then the Cardinals took the lead by scoring 4 runs in the 6th inning, leading by a score of 6-5. The Mets on the home run by McReynolds tied it up in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the count 2-2 here in the 7th as Guerrero faces Ron Darling with no one out. And this pitch popped up to right. Strawberry right there. So 1 away, and the batter will be Felix Jose. Felix 2 for 3 tonight. With the Pirates leading their ball game 4-1, if they go on to win, the Mets have to win here to stay 3.5 back for the 2-game series with Pittsburgh at Shea. And the first pitch to Jose is taken for ball 1. It'll be Doc Gooden on the mound for the Mets. No, the next day, I should say. Cone is the pitcher tomorrow night, and he'll be going against John Smiley, and then Doc Gooden will be going against Doug Grayback. That's here at Shea Stadium this year. They have 3 more of the season in Pittsburgh. 1-1 the count. Now 2-1. 3 games at the end of the season in Pittsburgh, or at the start of the season, because of the lockout. The 2-1 pitch. Ball 3, 3 balls and 1 strike.
If you have a Mets schedule, folks, you'll also want to pencil in the 24th of September. We will carry that game at 2:20, starting at 2:20 New York time. That's also a lockout game, the Mets versus the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
And there's ball 4, so Darling walks the man on.
That not only doesn't show up on your schedule, it was originally an off day for the Mets. So the Mets really have 4 lockout games remaining, 1 against the Cubs and 3 against the Pirates.
That'll bring up Todd Zeile for the Cardinals. Zeile has a home run in the double and 3 times up. His home run coming in the 2nd inning, his 14th of the year. And a throw to first base. Felix Jose, the runner there. He's had 3 stolen bases in 6 attempts. Again, Darling over there. And the pitch to Zeile is taken high. 1 ball, no strikes. Zeile first came to the Cardinals from the minor leagues at the end of last season. And the next pitch almost hits him for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes.
This fastball just misses Zeile. I wonder how he got out of the way of it.
So O'Brien out to talk to Darling as Zeile waits patiently.
It's a misnomer, isn't it? Zeile waits patiently.
What is
Oxymoron.
it? Oxymoron, yeah. 2-0, and again the throw to first base. Two and 2 the count. And the pitch is again fouled off. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, the signs are down. Again, a throw to first base. Starting pitchers in this game, both out of it with a no decision. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and it's high for ball 3, a full count. So with the count full and Jose on at first base, he'll be running with the pitch. Zeile hitting .245 in the year. And throw to first base and almost a pickoff. And when it's a 3-2 count and you're running at first base, you can't get picked off at first.
That is exactly right. It's like the hit and run play. Look, Jose almost nailed. And the throw by Darling just a wee bit late.
One thing you can't do in that situation is get picked off. This time he gets back easily.
As a matter of fact, the first base coach will say often to the runner, make sure he pitches. And he means exactly that.
Don't move until the ball's delivered. And again he's moving, and this time he's out. Boy, that is really bad base running.
Awful. Awful. You're not going to steal the base. Joe Torre's going to talk. But, you know, Harry Wendelstedt may have called him out because not only was he out, but his knee buckled twice. You just can't make bad base running plays like that at a big league level. You've got to make sure the pitcher goes home with the ball. And like the hit and run play, it's up to the hitter to put the ball in play. Here it is one more time. Watch the right leg, buckle. He was close enough to be called out.
Absolutely.
He looked out to me.
So Torre, a mild argument. Tag goes on the knee as the bag is touched by the runner. But Wendelstedt said, you're out. So Torre making an appearance very briefly.
Joe just protecting his first base coach and base runner.
Trying to cover for him, but that is a very bad play. So now with no one on, the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. And the Mets get out of the inning with no one left on base. On our GE line score, it's the Cardinals 6 and the Mets 6, and we'll return right after this message. Bottom of the 7th inning. No run scored by the Cardinals in the top of the 7th. Now it'll be Greg Jefferies to lead it off for the Mets. He's 0 for 3. Jefferies just missed a home run back in the 3rd inning on a fly ball hit back up against the wall in right, caught by Jose. Jefferies now 1 for 19 in his last 19 at-bats. And the first pitch by Camacho is in there for a called strike. Camacho came into the game in the 6th inning and gave up a home run to his first batter, Kevin McReynolds. That tied up the ball game, and that delivery bouncing away, and it's 1-1. One ball, one strike. And the fastball for ball 2, 2-1. Two for 30 in his last 10 ball games. And this ball hit hard off of the chest of Zeal and bouncing over to Ozzie Smith, and we'll see how they score.
It could be a hit, but should be an error. And it is an error on Todd Zeal, the third baseman. I don't think he put a glove on it. That ball hit him on the left thigh and bounces away. He had to play shallow in case Jefferies tried to bunt. So Jefferies aboard.
So the leadoff man on at first base and Tommy Herr the batter. Cardinals are looking for the sacrifice. Herr also a good hit and run man. Tie ball game at 6. Bottom half of the 7th inning. And the throw to first base chases Jefferies back. Jefferies with above average speed. He's had 10 stolen bases in 12 attempts.
He wants Chuck Hiller to go over the signs once more. So something's on, either a bunt or a hit and run.
And the pitch is way outside for ball 1. That was not a pitch out. Quizzical look at Chuck Hiller, the third base coach.
I don't think that's a sign.
Maybe it is. One ball, no strikes. And again to throw to first. Mets have lost 6 of their last 8 ball games. They need a victory here. Pirates leading their game 4-1 in the bottom half of the 8th inning in Philadelphia. And this time Tommy Herr was hitting away, and it's ball 2, 2-0 the count.
I guess Buddy Harrelson thinks that if Tommy Herr does sacrifice, then Joe Torre would bring in Frank DePino. DePino, the left-hander, warming up now. And Tommy Herr wants to talk to Chuck Hiller.
Tommy Herr having to learn a new set of signs when he came over from the Philadelphia Phillies. Now Torrey is going out to talk to the home plate umpire to make a double switch.
You can see Torrey hold up those two fingers. That means that two changes will be made, and DePino will come in the ball game. Terry Pendleton will go in at third.
So the pitcher will bat into the, will drop into the 6th position in the batting order. And Pendleton will bat in the 9th position in the batting order as they go to a new pitcher with a count of 2 balls and no strikes. So a change now, and while we're waiting for the new pitcher to warm up, here's a word from Bud Light. So you're watching Mets baseball on Universal 9 WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. So remember now, the count 2 balls and no strikes. The runner at first base is Greg Jeffries. Tie ball game at 6. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. With a count 2-0, Pendleton at third base is back behind the bag at third. Tommy Herr in this ball game is 0 for 3. He has been in a slump for the New York Mets. He's 3 for 28. But against the Cardinals in his major league career, he's .329 with 1 home run and 14 runs batted in. 2-0 the count. And a pitch in for a called strike. DePino worked against the Mets in the 7th inning of yesterday's ball game. Gave up 5 runs but allowed only 2 hits. Struck out 1 and walked 2. The 2-1 pitch, and it's grounded foul with a runner going on the pitch. So it's 2-2, and Jeffries back to first. So the hit and run on. But Tommy Herr with a tough pitch to handle, and he fouls it off.
Yeah, that ball ate him up inside. As a matter of fact, it broke his bat. All a manager can do is to try to get a hitter a good pitch on which to hit and run. And you could see that ball sailing in. It broke Herr's bat.
So DePino with a count of 2-2 now after coming in with a count 2 balls and no strikes. In the month of June, he was defeated by the Pirates to end the 14-game winning streak. All those wins compiled while a relief pitcher. Now the 2-2 pitch, and it's ball 3. 3-2 the count. Jeffries will be running with a pitch in all likelihood.
So the same thing applies for Jeffries as applied to Felix Jose. You've got to make sure he pitches.
Jeffries with an average lead at first. And DePino to the plate. Jeffries gets going, and this one in the corner might be good enough for a run. Bouncing off the wall, Jeffries on his way to third. He's being waved in, and he'll score. And the Mets take the lead by a score of 7-6 as Jeffries scores all the way from first base on a double by Tommy Herr.
Good play by Chuck Hiller, the third base coach. So much depends when a runner is running from first, whether you score him or not. So much depends on the carom. Look how softly this ball caroms back to Thompson. It doesn't shoot back to him, but it's almost like a very soft carom, and for that reason, Jeffries scores on the play. Watch the windmill start with Hiller. Backing up. Now he wants to see the runner and the left fielder. He saw both and made the right play, and the Mets take the lead.
We also saw a very poor relay throw from Thompson into the shortstop, Ozzie Smith, and he couldn't handle it.
That was an interesting shot. What did Chuck Hiller backing up so he could get Greg Jeffries and the left fielder, Milt Thompson.
It's not a stationary position when you coach third base.
This is very interesting now. The ball is hit. Now he backs up. Now he looks at Jeffries. Now he decides. Good shot.
So the Mets now take the lead 7-6, and they have Dave Magadan at the plate. Magadan 0 for 3 tonight. And he squares to bunt for a base hit and bunts the ball foul.
Pirates batting in the top of the ninth at Philadelphia, leading 4-1. A big two-run homer by Lloyd McClendon, just picked up recently by the Buccos. Well, they're getting good mileage out of the guys they've picked up. Zane Smith, Lloyd McClendon.
Amazing. 1 strike to count. The pitch, and it's hit down the left field side. Milt Thompson over in the foul territory tries to slide under it and does, and makes a great play.
Wow.
And Magadan is out. What a play that Milt Thompson pulled off there as he slides under the ball to keep him running into the fence and still is able to hold on to it.
Look at this play by Thompson. Oh, man. What a play. The right hand to cushion the slide, and he caught it right in the web. Boy, that is a extraordinary play by Milt Thompson.
Tommy Herr going back to second base. Now the batter will be Darryl Strawberry with 1 man out. Strawberry with a base hit and 3 at bats. Singled off the glove of Ken Hill, the starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, for that base hit. And the first pitch by DePino, way outside for ball 1. On deck batter is Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds tied this game with a home run. That was back in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And Strawberry fouls off the next delivery. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets leading 7-6 with a run in here in the 7th inning. The run at this point in the ball game is unearned. An error charge to Todd Zeal, the third baseman. That was on the leadoff batter, Greg Jeffries. Could have been scored, a base hit. Phenia is throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. And this ball hit out to right field. Just a high fly ball. Tagged up at second base is Tommy Herr, and he goes over to third. The throw cut off by Ozzie Smith. And the Mets have a runner at third base with 2 men out for Kevin McReynolds.
Left fielder Kevin McReynolds.
Well, if Herr were on second base, you would walk him, and now he's on third, and Joe Torre properly, I think, is going to walk him anyway.
McReynolds 3 for 3 in this game tonight, and they're walking him intentionally to get to Howard Johnson.
Hojo batting only .201 against left-handed pitching, but a lot of managers surely would walk a guy intentionally if it's a guy on second base, but when a runner moves to third, a lot of managers think because that opens up the double steal possibility that you don't need to walk him in that situation. Really, it's the same thing.
Open base.
Yeah.
And a hot batter going. So the intentional walk puts runners at first and third and brings up Howard Johnson. Howard with a gift base hit, 1 for 3. He struck out twice and hit a high fly ball into shallow center.
He just told Tom Pagnozzi not to throw through if the runner went. You could see Joe giving the safe sign and read his lips say, don't throw through. So if McReynolds runs, they're going to give him second base.
Johnson's high fly ball to shallow center dropped in for a base hit. Ball should have been caught by either the center fielder, right fielder, or Jose Oquendo. That helped the Mets to a big inning. And the first pitch that Johnson swung on and missed. It's strike 1. 2 men away. Tommy Herr, the runner at third base, and Kevin McReynolds, the runner at first. The 1-strike pitch, and it's hit down the right side, blooped down the right side, in foul territory out of play. So Howard Johnson with a 2-strike count. Seesaw ball game here at Shea tonight. Cardinals led 1-0, then the Mets led 2-1. Cardinals tied it at 2-2. The Mets got 3 to go in front 5-2. Then the Cardinals won in front 6-5 with 4 runs. The Mets tied it up in the 6th and then went ahead in the 7th. Schatzeder and Phenia now throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. Hard ground ball to third. Pendleton with his first chance. He handles it well and throws to first base for the out that retires the side. But the Mets get 1 big run. They had only 1 hit. There was 1 error, also a walk, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 7. It's the Mets 7 and the Cardinals 6. Now here's a word from your tri-state Lincoln. At the top of the 8th, the Mets leading by a score of 7-6. And for the Cardinals, the leadoff batter will be Tom Pagnozzi, who has a single and 3 at-bats. And he goes after Darling's first pitch, hits it deep to right center field. Darling getting some help from Boston as he tracks it down right at the warning track. So that'll bring up Jose Oquendo, who is 0 for 3. Mets 7 runs on 8 base hits. The Cardinals 6 runs on 12. Oquendo with the collar here tonight. Over his last 8 games, he's been hitting at a .414 clip until tonight's ball game. And that pitch, ball 1. And he's trying to work his way on a walk, and he takes again for ball 2. Oquendo 3 for 3 in last night's ball game, including a triple. The 2-0 pitch by Darling, a called strike, and it's 2-1. The 2-1 pitch, and it's popped up into shallow center field. Darling a hard, I should say Boston a hard run in getting to it, and 2 men out.
The Nissan National League scoreboard, 11-6 Chicago over Montreal this afternoon. The Pirates over the Phillies, 4-1 that game in the top of the 9th. Cincinnati over Houston. The Cincinnati Reds 6 games in front of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers play later in San Diego, Atlanta later on, and San Francisco.
San Francisco is 7 games back. They've won 3 in a row, so they're still alive. This is Terry Pendleton, who was put in the 9th spot in the batting order when they made the pitching change, and his first pitch outside the ball. Pendleton hitting .231 for the year with 6 home runs, 58 runs batted in.
On September 11th, 1987, everybody in this ballpark remembered Terry Pendleton and what he did to Roger McDowell.
And he hits it in the same direction right here and chases Boston back. He hit a home run over the center field fence to break up the Mets' chances of ever winning that year. So a 1-2-3 inning, all the putouts by Boston in center field, and the score at the end is 7.5 innings. The Mets 7 and the Cardinals 6. Now here's those are great shots. Well, we're going to the bottom of the 8th. The Mets leading 7-6, holding on to a slim lead. They gave up a 5-2 lead and then came back to tie it and then went ahead in the 7th. And the leadoff batter will be Darryl Boston. He takes first ball 1. Boston has been robbed of 2 base hits on 2 smashes in this game tonight, batting for the first time against Franco Phenia. Pino 5-2 in the year with 3 saves. And the pitch back hit hard to right. They won't catch this one. It is way back and gone off the top of the wall. Boston finally found a way how to get it out of here as he gets a base hit after being robbed of 2. He just hit it off the top of the fence.
Don't hit it to them, hit it over them. That's what the blimp's been doing all night, going over. That's the best way to avoid the traffic, right? I mean, he crushes this ball off the Pino. But Boston has hit the ball hard 3 times, only 1 double to show for it. Jose gets back, but the ball didn't have enough hang time for him to do anything with it, and Boston has a double.
That'll bring up Charlie O'Brien. Cardinals looking for a sacrifice. He bunts it out to the first base side. No play, and a ball thrown badly by DePino, but a good play by Guerrero to hold on to it. So Guerrero making the put out at first on the sacrifice. The Mets have a runner at third with 1 out for Greg Jeffries. I should say for the pitcher.
Should be Ron Darling, but Darling's they're gonna have a pinch hitter with Franco in the bullpen. Buddy Harrelson trying to get an insurance run, and it's going to be Pat Tabler as the pinch hitter.
Pat getting a bases loaded single as a pinch hitter for his first hit as a New York Mets player. He's the all-time leader in base hits among active players with the bases loaded, somewhere close to about 480.
39 for 79 to be exact.
But the bases aren't loaded, but he has a runner at third. Tabler pinch hitting for the 3rd time. He's had 1 hit and 2 runs batted in. Scott Terry, the right-hander, warming up. And Stan Clark, the left-hander. And we'll see what they're doing here. They're probably bringing the right-hander, and it looks like Joe Torre's doing just that. There's the right-hander. So a change in pitching. This will be the 4th pitcher used by the Cardinals. Scott Terry coming in. And while he comes in to warm up, here's a word from Eagle Snacks. So Mackey Sasser, who is 6 for 22 as a pinch hitter, will be the batter. Sasser hitting .311 overall with 6 home runs and 40 runs batted in. Runner at third base. The infield is in for a play at the plate. And Scott Terry, the pitcher. And the first pitch hit out to left center field. It's deep enough to score a run. Boston tags up. The throw by Langford is not in time. And Boston scores. The Mets get an insurance run and lead it by a score of 8-6. Pretty good throw.
I'll guarantee it was. Langford really positions himself well to make a close play. Well, I mean, this throw is right on line. A fine job by Pagnozzi blocking the plate. That's that straight in slide. See, if you're the runner at third base, you do not want to hook slide into a shin guard. You want to knock the foot off the plate. And that's what Boston does. Good play.
So 2 men out now, and the Mets leading 8-6, and Greg Jeffries the batter. And the pitch outside the ball. Jeffries 0 for 4.
Tell you, catchers love guys who try to hook slide into them. All you have to do is catch that foot and you spin them off the plate and just go over and tag them. That straight in slide's the best way to slide into a catcher. That's how you get your force.
Drive that foot out of there.
Right.
The pitch is outside again, so the count 2-0.
Here it is one more time. Watch Boston. See Pagnozzi with that foot planted, and Boston just blows right through it.
Great throw by the center fielder Langford.
Really was.
And now the 2-0 pitch to Jeffries, hit in the air to center field. Moving up is Langford, and he makes the catch. That retires the side. We go to the 9th. The Mets leading by a score of 8-6. But first, here's a word from New York Telephone.
Another save. He will break Jesse Orozco's single-season record for saves, set back in 1984. He had 31. John has 31. By the way, fans, after every game this season, points will be awarded to Mets pitchers for the AT&T Long Distance Award. Here's how it...
And the 2 pitchers in second and third pitching against the Pirates in the 2-game series starting tomorrow night. Going tomorrow night against John Smiley, and then the next night, Doc Gooden against Doug Drayback. And we'd like to remind you, there are seats available for those 2 ball games, so don't miss it if you can. But if you can't get out here to the ballpark, well, there's always television. 8-6, the Mets. The Cardinals will be leading off with Milt Thompson, who has a base hit and 3 at-bats. He is a bunter, and Franco chins him right there. Little chin music.
Unintentional. Franco trying to stay ahead. I would imagine Thompson will be taking here.
Should be taking, and you got to be careful of the bunt. You certainly don't want to walk him. Putting the time run at the plate, and that's ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Thompson hitting .215. A real off year. Hit .290 last year for the Cardinals, and there's a strike. It's 2-1. Thompson making an outstanding play in the outfield in foul territory.
Wow, that was a good play.
That was off of Dave Magadan. What a play, sliding under the ball right by the fence and coming up with it in the air and holding on to it. The 2-1 pitch. It's popped up in foul territory. Over there is Jeffries, but he can't get near it as it goes into the stands. It'll be Thompson, Smith, and Langford as the first 3 batters for Franco. Thompson, of course, a left-hand batter. Smith, a switch hitter, and Langford, a left-hand batter. And after that, the right-hander Guerrero. Two balls, 2 strikes. And this ball chopped over the head of Jeffries, and that is a base hit for Thompson. He's going for 2. The throw by McReynolds is not in time, as Thompson takes a gamble there and gets away with it. That run means nothing.
Quickly, the Nissan American League scoreboard. 5-4 the Yankees over Texas at the stadium. 2-1 Detroit over Baltimore. 4-2 Milwaukee over Boston. And that's important. 3-3 the White Sox and Cleveland tied. That's important that Boston score because Toronto only 4 games back. If they win and Boston loses, it'll be 3. Oakland at Seattle, Minnesota, California later on.
And now the batter, Ozzie Smith, and he takes the first pitch for strike 1.
5-1. The Pirates 4 games ahead of the Mets. So the Mets, to keep pace, have to win this game.
And this pitch is a ball for a 1-ball, 1 strike count. 1-1, the count to Ozzie Smith, and the pitch back is in the dirt, gets away. Runner stays at second base. He does not have to go because he doesn't mean that much either at second or third. The main run is at the plate. That's a time run. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Two and one the count. Franco under the gun here. And a swing and a miss. 2-2. Smith not easy to strike out. One of the toughest in the National League to strike out. 2 for 4 in the game tonight. Franco doesn't care how he gets it, just so he gets it.
Any out, right.
The 2-2 pitch, and it's in the dirt for ball 3. Full count to Ozzie Smith. With Thompson on with a base hit, it assures the Cardinals of Guerrero getting up unless he gets knocked off the bases. So he has to play it safe. Guerrero, the big RBI man, and the only RBI man.
Have to play it safe as far as the line drive is concerned. That's where you play it safe. A ground ball, it doesn't matter. And no chance of a double play on a ground ball with the guy at second base.
Ground ball, let him go and pick up the out at first. This ball up the middle, and it'll be a base hit. So a run will score, and now the time run is at first base. And here we go again. As the Mets lead it by 1, they lead by a score of 8-7, and the batter coming up is Langford. So 2 hits in a row. And the Cardinals trying to come back.
You don't normally tie on the road, but Guerrero against Franco is a good matchup, so you may see Langford, a left-handed hitter, bunting here. Thompson scores, but that's not the big run, of course. That run by the Mets in the bottom of the 8th certainly looms large right here, but Ozzie Smith with his 3rd hit of the night.
Now Langford, the batter, and he's had 1 hit in 3 at-bats, and the first pitch to him bounced in the hole again, and it'll go through into right field. Herr got his glove on it. Now the time run is at 3rd with no one out on 3 consecutive base hits. So the Mets in deep trouble now.
Buddy Harrelson putting up 2 fingers saying to get 2.
He's going to play back and try and get a double play off Guerrero, which would allow the time run to score.
Yeah, you can't play in right here, not with this matchup. You got to play for 2.
Now you're looking for a pop-up in the infield or a strikeout, or the double play, and this pitch is bounced out to short. No chance for the double play. Johnson gets a force. It's tied now at 8 as the run scores from 3rd base, and the go-ahead run is now at 2nd.
You might be wondering why Howard Johnson can't throw the ball back to second base. Usually the gauge on that is if you're in front of the baseline, you go to first. Howard, it was one of those plays where he takes a chance going to second base. And sure, if the infield were in, then you cut off the run at the plate, but there's no way with Pedro Guerrero hitting against a left-hander, nobody out, no way you can play the infield.
Totally agree. And now the batter is Felix Jose, and he takes low for ball 1. Jose in this game, 2 for 3 with a walk. Ball game tied at 8. We're in the top of the 9th inning, 1 man out, a runner at second base.
You got to watch Langford at second. Nobody's holding him on. Tommy Herr, really, I mean, Langford a threat to steal. It's 1 out, a good time for it.
And a right-hand batter batting. This pitch is swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Rich Hacker saying, watch the ball. Get a good pitch to hit. Watch the ball. Rex Hudler is in the on-deck circle, or near it. Langford a big lead at second base. Jeffries deep at third base. Herb making a couple of moves over near the bag at second to try and get his attention, the runner's attention at second. And that pitch a ball, and it's 2-1. Pirates have won their game with Philadelphia. They won it by a score of 5-1. The 2-1 pitch. Right at Johnson at shortstop. He has it. The throw over to first base for the out. And on the play, Langford goes over to third. So 2 men away. And it appears that Rex Hudler will be the pinch hitter.
Joe Torre probably telling him, hey, if you want to take a shot at bunting, you run real well. He may be telling him to take a strike, so Franco has a chance of getting wild low. With 2 outs, I don't know any other option. I'm willing to listen.
I can't think of any either. That's about it. Franco has made 6 wild pitches so far this year. He works in the dirt a lot. So a job for O'Brien to keep that ball near the plate with a runner at third.
Only one other time has John Franco given up more than 1 run in an appearance. That was back on the 14th of July against the Reds.
And Hudler squares to take, not to bunt. And he takes a strike.
Very unusual for Franco to give up more than 1 run in a game. He's only done it once this year. This is the 2nd time tonight.
Hudler hitting .305 for the year, and that pitch is swung on, and it's in the dirt. Good play on it by O'Brien. Hudler, as a pinch hitter, has had 4 hits and 20 at-bats, but 2 of the 4 have been home runs. 2-strike count to Hudler. And the pitch. Outside for a ball, and it's 1-2. This is the 4th blown save by Franco this year.
3 of the 4 blown saves were blown when Ron Darling had a chance to win.
He was on the winning side of this ball game. Ground ball to third. Jeffries has it. The throw in time for the out, and that retires the side. But the Cardinals tie it with 2 runs on 3 consecutive base hits. They leave a runner at third base, and the score at the end of 8.5 innings, it's the Cardinals 8 and the Mets.
That's an ordinary name, but this man is no ordinary stopper, nor does he have any ordinary size. He is.
Tommy with a double to drive in a run in the 7th inning. They put the Mets up by a score of 7-6. They added 1 more run in the 8th and led 8-6. But the Cardinals getting 2 in the top of the 9th to tie it again. Kerr is 1 for 4 in this game. He'll be followed by Magadan and Strawberry. And the first pitch is in for a called strike. Cincinnati defeated Houston 5-3. They were leading the Dodgers by 6 and San Francisco by 7. Both those clubs playing on the West Coast tonight. And a pitch for a ball, and it's 1-1. Smith, the 5th pitcher used by Joe Torre. The Mets have used 4. Magadan, the on-deck batter. And the fastball swung on a miss, 1-2. Seesaw ball game. The Cardinals led, and the Mets. Then the Cardinals tied it. The Mets then led. The Cardinals then took over the lead. The Mets then came back to tie it, then took the lead. Then the Cardinals came back to tie it. Check swing on a foul ball. Count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. With the Pirates winning their ball game, the magic number drops to 18. Any combination of 18 wins or Met losses, Pirate wins or Met losses, and the Pirates have it won. One and two the count to Tommy Herr, leading off here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. And it goes to 2-2. Torre, the new manager of the Cardinals, replacing Red Chandies, who was the interim manager. Red took over and Waddy Herzog resigned. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and Herr takes for ball 3. Pitch down the dirt. So a full count now to Tommy Herr.
Herr trying to fight his way on so Keith Miller can go into pinch run for him. That first man in the inning on, and you could do all sorts of things in a tie ball game late in the game.
David Cohn pitching tomorrow against the Pirates, and it's ball 4. So Tommy Herr worked out the walk, and we probably will get a base runner.
I would sure think so. Tommy has fair speed. Chance to win it right now. I mean, he can't run like Keith Miller can. Miller can play second base. You use him 1 for 1.
And now Dave Magadan stepping in. Magadan 0 for 4. And he squares the bunt and bunts it foul. So it's strike 1. Magadan used in the sacrifice situation on the first pitch. Chuck Hiller sending the signs in again.
Smith, a tough guy to bunt because he throws those high fastballs. In order to bunt the ball on the ground, you have to be on top of the ball, and it's very difficult to get on top of the high fastball.
Magadan has sacrificed twice this year successfully. And on deck is Darryl Strawberry. Tommy Herr at first base, and Magadan squares and bunts it up in the air. It's in foul territory, and Magadan is out on an unsuccessful bunt attempt.
Well, the Mets regulars do not bunt well, and you might think that they don't do it enough, and you're right. Magadan could have been called out for interference there. I mean, here's the 3rd leading hitter in the National League, and if you bunt him over, you're going to walk Strawberry to get to McReynolds. McReynolds with 3 hits tonight, but he's facing a different pitcher now.
Very, very tough pitcher. Magadan, of course, your most consistent hitter and a good contact man. So Darryl Strawberry, the batter. Darryl with a base hit and 4 at-bats.
Smith does not throw to first base that often.
Well, Miller right here could steal second if he were the base runner.
Yep.
But you don't want him to steal second with Strawberry up. He'd be walked.
That's true.
And now the pitch gone. Goodbye. The game is over.